The Galactic Council's chamber fell silent as Ambassador Velthar of the Krone Collective delivered the verdict. His three eyes swept across the assembled representatives of 47 species, each one nodding in solemn agreement. "The vote is unanimous," Velthar announced, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into standard galactic. "Humanity is hereby exiled from galactic space. They have 30 cycles to withdraw all personnel, vessels, and installations beyond the quarantine boundary. Any human presence detected thereafter will be met with immediate military action." The decision had been inevitable. In their mere 2 centuries of galactic citizenship, humans had proven themselves to be chaos incarnate. They refused to follow established trade protocols. Their diplomats were unnecessarily aggressive, and worst of all, they questioned everything. The ancient traditions that had maintained galactic peace for 10,000 years meant nothing to them. "They're too dangerous," whispered the Threne representative, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's light. "Too unpredictable." What the Council didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment since the first whispers of exile began circulating through diplomatic channels 6 months prior. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the USNS Defiance, humanity's first true deep space exploration vessel, watching the recorded broadcast of the Council's verdict. Around her, the crew maintained their stations with practiced calm, though she could feel the tension in the air. "So they finally did it," muttered Commander Park from the tactical station. "They did," Chen confirmed, a slight smile playing at her lips. "Activate Operation Exodus." Across human space, the response was immediate and coordinated. It wasn't panic. It wasn't even surprise. It was execution of a plan that humanity's best minds had been crafting for half a year. The quarantine boundary the Council had established was a sphere 200 light-years in diameter, centered on Earth. It encompassed humanity's 37 colony worlds, hundreds of mining operations, and countless deep space installations. The Council expected humans to abandon everything beyond Earth's solar system, retreating to their homeworld like scolded children. Humanity had other plans. Within hours of the verdict, human vessels throughout the galaxy began moving with purpose, not retreating, advancing. Colony ships that had been positioned at the edges of human space suddenly activated drives and vanished into unexplored space beyond the quarantine line. Survey vessels scattered in dozens of directions, each carrying genetic banks, cultural archives, and most importantly, coordinates to rendezvous points light-years away from any known galactic civilization. The humans weren't abandoning their colonies. They were evacuating them, yes, but not back to Earth. They were going deeper into the cosmic dark, into the vast unexplored regions that the galaxy's elder races had long ago deemed unprofitable or too remote to matter. The Council's monitoring stations detected the movement within days. Confusion reigned. "They're not coming back," observed Velthar, staring at the tactical display showing human vessels streaming outward like seeds from a burst pod. "They're leaving entirely." "Good," said the Threne representative. "Let them vanish into the void. Without galactic infrastructure, they'll be extinct within a generation." But Velthar wasn't so certain. There was something in the precision of the human exodus, the coordination of it, that suggested this wasn't desperate flight. It was calculated strategy. He was right to be concerned. 50 years later, the Galactic Council faced a crisis unlike anything in their recorded history. The Zendari, a predatory species from beyond the galactic rim, had begun a systematic invasion of Council space. Their technology was overwhelming, their tactics brutal. Entire species were being enslaved or exterminated. The Council's military, built for peacekeeping rather than war, crumbled before the onslaught. In their desperation, someone suggested the unthinkable. "We could try to contact Earth," proposed a junior Krone diplomat. "Perhaps humanity?" "Absolutely not," Velthar cut him off. "They're exiled. Besides, they're likely extinct by now. No species could survive cut off from galactic civilization for half a century." But even as he spoke, reports were flooding in from the front lines. Unidentified vessels were engaging Zendari forces. The ships used no known galactic technology. Their tactics were unprecedented, and they fought with a ferocity that even the Zendari seemed unprepared for. On the bridge of the USNS Defiance II, Admiral James Chen, grandson of Sarah Chen, watched the Zendari dreadnought explode across his view screen. Around him, A fleet of 300 human vessels maneuvered with practiced coordination. Ships built in hidden shipyards scattered across a dozen star systems the Council had never even surveyed. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the Kron fleet," his communications officer reported. "They're asking who we are." Chen smiled the same smile his grandmother had worn 50 years earlier. "Tell them we're nobody, just some exiles who happened to be passing through. Humanity had spent 5 decades in the dark between stars, and they'd learned to thrive there. Without the Council's regulations, they'd experimented freely. Without access to established trade routes, they'd learned to build everything themselves. Without the safety net of galactic civilization, they'd become harder, smarter, and infinitely more resourceful. The Council had exiled them to save the galaxy from humanity's chaos. They'd only succeeded in setting humanity free. As the human fleet jumped away, leaving the confused Kron forces staring at their sensor readings, Chen opened a secure channel to the other human fleet commanders scattered across this sector of space. "All units continue the mission. The Council wants to know if we're still dangerous." He chuckled. "Let's show them what 50 years of freedom has created. Let's show them what humanity becomes when you give us an entire galaxy to explore." Behind them, the Zendari invasion faltered, confused by this new player on the battlefield. Ahead of them, the vast unexplored universe beckoned. The Council had voted to exile Earth. Humanity had voted to inherit the stars.